there is a voice in your head that uses no vocal cords, yet you hear it more clearly than any other sound. In fact, you hear it more than anything else. It is the narrator of your life, the judge of your past, and the architect of your future. For most of us, this inner voice is not just something we hear. It is the self we actually believe we are. By the end of this video, you will understand a truth about this voice that most people never realize in their entire lives. Think about it. The thought, "I'm not good enough," lands not as an observation, but as a final verdict. The worry, "What if this fails?" is not a possibility. It is a rehearsal for disaster. We live inside this stream of consciousness so completely that we rarely notice we are caught in it, merged with every word and emotion, believing we are the thinker of every thought. But an ancient and unsettling question hides in plain sight. If you can hear the voice of anxiety, who exactly is doing the listening? If you can notice a thought of judgment arise and then fade, who is the one noticing? This is the central mystery of you. Unlocking it reveals a hidden capacity within your own awareness, the ability to stand apart from the mind's relentless activity. And discovering this is only the beginning. What lies beyond it is the real secret. Within it is the potential to end a lifetime of inner conflict. What we explore here is not a prescription or a belief system. It is an invitation to observe for yourself, to trust the quiet recognition that arises from within. And by the end, you will understand a truth about this voice that most people never realize in their entire lives. The human mind is a meaning-making machine. From the moment we wake, it begins its work, translating raw experience into a story. It labels sensations, judges interactions, and narrates our desires. This internal commentary is so constant, so automatic, that we mistake its voice for our own. This is the architecture of the trap, a subtle fusion where the thought about reality becomes our only reality. When sadness appears, the mind says, "I am sad," and suddenly an entire identity is built around a feeling. When a past mistake surfaces, the mind rehearses it with sharp critique, and we experience the shame as if it is happening right now. This is not just thinking, it is a form of hypnotic belief. We become actors lost in a film, forgetting we are sitting in the audience. We feel the terror of the on-screen threat, the sting of the character's betrayal, unaware that we are simply watching light and shadow on a screen. Our suffering is real, but its source is this fundamental misidentification. In neuroscience, this state of being lost in thought is linked to a specific pattern of brain activity. A network fires up when we are on autopilot, ruminating, worrying, constructing our sense of self. When this storytelling network is overactive, it generates a near-constant dissatisfaction, a feeling that something is always wrong with us or our lives. This is not a new discovery. Ancient traditions recognized it millennia ago. Buddhist teachings speak of the monkey mind, swinging restlessly from one branch of thought to another, never at peace. Vedantic philosophy offers a path of inquiry called neti-neti, meaning not this, a practice of gently negating every thought, feeling, and sensation as the true self. Both paths point to the same truth. The endless stream of mental events is something the self experiences, not what the self is. The trap is not the presence of thoughts, but our unconscious agreement to believe that they are us. These invisible chains create our deepest anxieties, our sharpest reactions, and the quiet, persistent ache of feeling lost in the noise. Yet, even in the depths of that fusion, something else is present. For you to be aware of being lost in a thought, some part of you must not be lost. For you to notice the chaos of the monkey mind, some part of you must be still. This is not a concept. It is an experience. It is the silent background against which all the noise of your inner world unfolds. This is the watcher, Modern neuroscience has begun to map this capacity, calling it meta-awareness. The mind's ability to know that it is thinking. It is a subtle but powerful shift, moving from being the character in the story to being the awareness that perceives the story itself. It is the recognition that thoughts are happening rather than the simple, unexamined experience of the thoughts themselves. For thousands of years, the sages of Advaita Vedanta have called this unchanging background of awareness Sakshi. The silent witness, Sakshi, is described not as a part of the mind, but as the light that illuminates it. It does not judge thoughts, engage with them, or try to change them. It simply witnesses their arising and their passing, completely untouched by their content. Imagine your awareness as the vast open sky. Thoughts, emotions, and sensations are like clouds. Some are dark and stormy, some light and wispy. They drift in, obscure the blue for a time, and then drift away. Through it all, the sky itself is never harmed, never moved, never changed. It is the constant, stable container for all the fleeting weather patterns. You are the sky, not the clouds. This underlying stillness has been glimpsed in many ways. It is the profound peace that surfaces in quiet moments of meditation. It is the lucid clarity reported by those in near-death states who observe the events of their lives without attachment. It is the effortless presence found in moments of creative flow, when the chattering mind disappears and action becomes seamless. The watcher is not a new self you have to build. It is the fundamental ground of your being that has been here all along, waiting patiently beneath the turbulence of the mind. The most profound shift in a human life is not changing what you think, but discovering the one who watches. Recognizing the watcher is the first step. Learning to rest in that awareness, even as the mind continues its activity, is the practice. This does not require years of silent retreat or complex rituals. It begins with a simple, almost imperceptible shift in your attention. The practice can start right now. As a thought arises, instead of following it down its usual path, gently note it. If a wave of worry about the future appears, silently label it worrying. If the inner critic begins its monologue, label it judging. This is not about pushing the thought away. It is a gentle acknowledgement, a way of turning the mental event from a master into a messenger. You are simply noticing what is already happening. This is at the heart of what modern psychology calls cognitive diffusion. The art of seeing thoughts as thoughts, internal events, rather than as direct truths or commands. The most transformative tool here is a subtle change in language. The thought, "I am a failure," is a heavy, solid identity, but notice what happens when you rephrase it. "I am having the thought that I am a failure." A space immediately opens up. The thought is still there, but you are no longer fused with it. You have moved from being the thing itself to being the one who observes it. This small space is the beginning of all inner freedom. This shift has a clear neurological signature. When you observe thoughts and emotions non-reactively, you calm the brain's alarm center, the amygdala, actively weakening old automatic pathways of fear and anxiety. At the same time, you strengthen neural circuits in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain associated with emotional regulation and wise discernment. You are literally rewiring your brain to respond with presence instead of panic. A common misunderstanding is that this leads to cold detachment, a disconnection from life. The reality is the precise opposite. This is not about being passive. It is about being radically present. When you are no longer exhausted by the endless battle with your own mind, you have more energy, more clarity, and more compassion to engage with the world as it is. You are not ignoring the waves of thought and emotion. You are learning to surf them with skill and balance, fully alive to the power and movement of the ocean of experience. This is how the watcher becomes your primary home, not just a place you visit. A patient return, moment by moment, to the quiet clarity that was always here. The final recognition is the most profound. It is the realization that this silent witnessing awareness is not just a tool for managing the mind. It is what you fundamentally are. Consciousness does not need thought to exist. Thought needs consciousness. We have all experienced fleeting moments of this. Have you ever found your mind suddenly blank, not tired or unfocused, but perfectly clear, awake, and empty of content? For a brief instant, no thoughts, no plans, no worries. Only a pure, simple state of being. Cognitive science has begun to study these states of mind, blanking, finding them distinct from simple distraction. They are moments where the stream of cognition pauses, yet awareness remains. This is a scientific hint at a truth long held by sages. The deep states of meditation described as samadhi or formless absorption are explorations of this very space, journeys into a state of consciousness where the thinking mind becomes completely still, revealing an underlying field of awareness that is boundless, silent, and radiant. This is not emptiness in the sense of a void, but a fullness of pure potential. The philosopher Shankara pointed to this when he described ultimate consciousness as non-intentional. Awareness in its pure form does not need an object to be aware of. It does not need a thought to think, a sound to hear, or a world to see. Its very nature is simply to be aware, just as the sun's nature is to shine. The sun does not need a planet to shine on in order to be luminous. It simply is light. In the same way, your fundamental consciousness simply is awareness. Thoughts, feelings, and the entire world appear within it. But the awareness itself precedes them all. It was here before your first thought, and it will be here after your last. This changes everything. The goal is no longer to perfect the skill of watching, but to recognize that you are the watcher. The noise of the mind was never you. It was only the weather passing through the sky of your being. And so the inquiry turns inward, leading to the most essential question a human can ask. If I am not my thoughts, not my feelings, not my body, then what am I? So we return to where we began, but with new eyes. The one who has been watching this entire exploration, the one who notices the subtle shifts of understanding within you, is not the thinking mind. The mind analyzes, it doubts, it grasps for certainty. The watcher simply knows. This is not a belief to be adopted. It is a presence to be noticed. What would it be like to trust this presence, to let it be your anchor in the storms of thought and emotion, to live from this place of silent knowing awareness? You do not need to create it, earn it, or even seek it. You only need to recognize it. You only need to stop looking for yourself in the noise, and instead notice the silence that was listening the whole time. If you have arrived here at the end and felt even a glimpse of this quiet presence, leave a single word in the comments below. Witness, it will be our shared sign of recognition, a quiet nod to everyone else who has made this journey. And if these explorations stir something within you, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.